All right, this is Pre-Algebra Lesson 1.3, quickly adding positive and negative numbers. Now, we've been trying for the last few days to train your brain on exactly what is going on. So hopefully we've done that. Hopefully you have a concept and an understanding of what's going on in the math. To help you with that, let me do one reminder. Let's say remember, and let's do a simplistic example. -3 plus 10. All right, so first off, you got to look at that and you got to say, hey, there's a negative number and a positive, right? We're adding negatives and positives, and that's what we're talking about here, right? Adding positives and negatives, or negatives and positives. So that's the first thought. Remember what we've been doing in the past. We would start out with the one with the least. All right, 3 is less than 10, so there's only 3 negatives, right? 10 positives. And so let's take all of the one with the least, and we take our 3 negatives. We take all the one with the least. We essentially use them all up, right? Then we would take as many from the one with the most. So let's take 3 of our 10 positives. That always adds up to 0 because those are opposite numbers, right? 3 of those positives wipe out 3 of those negatives. And we would simply figure out how many's left. If I use 3 of the 10, there are 7 positives left. Answer, +7. So that's what we've been doing so far. Now what we want to do is we want to do this process mentally. So there's not going to be a whole lot of notes to write because it's really a mental process. And I'll go through and do a bunch and explain what I'm thinking as I go to hopefully help you to understand. So let's do a bunch of examples. So number 2, examples. All right, I'm going to take the exact same question here for A, -3 plus 10. Here's what you do. You start at the number that's the least, the one with the least. Same start, isn't it? Now, don't worry about it being positive or negative. I don't care. I don't care. If you look up at the example above, remember, we have 3 negatives, 10 positives. There's 3 of the negatives, 10 of the positives. Now, I don't care what they are. Just start at the number. We have 2 numbers. We have a 3 and a 10. I start at the smaller number, the one with the least, and I count from that number to 10. So that's what you're going to do. So I'll write on the side here, count from 3 to 10. Now look, let me let you in a secret. If you want to use your fingers, use your fingers. That's fine. Not a problem. Use your fingers. If you could see me right now, you might see me counting on my fingers. It's okay. God gave us 10. They work real great with our 10-digit system here. Okay? There's no shame. I'd rather use your fingers and get the problem correct. Besides, most people sneak using their fingers. And again, if you could see me right now, I'd show you how, what people do to try to sneak using their fingers. Just go ahead and use your fingers if you need to. Right? Not a big deal. So count from 3 to 10. All right, how much is that? 7. And then the way you finish it off is give the sign of the one with the most. Give the sign of the one with the most. And just for emphasis, I'm going to put a plus sign in front. Give the sign of the one with the most. Now look, what did we just do? We just figured out how many positives were left, right? 3 of our 10 positives wiped out the 3 negatives. That's why we started counting at 3. We counted from 3 to 10 to find out there were 7 positives left. We gave the answer +7. So we're just doing it in our head. Let's do another one. How about this one? How about 5 minus 13? Okay, be careful now. That's 5 positives and 13 negatives. So on this one, we're going to count from 5 to 13. Count from 5 to 13. Start at 5 and count to 13. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That was 8. And which one is there more of? Negatives. Give it that sign. negative 8. See, we found out that there were 8 negatives left over, right? 5 of the negatives wiped out the 5 positives. There were 8 negatives left. Negative 8. That's the answer on we roll. See how easy these are? They really are. Once you understand what's going on, they just come very, 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 very quickly. Let's do some more. C. C. All right, so how about something like this? Negative 20 plus 5. Negative 20 plus 5. So again, you're recognizing this is a negative and a positive. Okay. There's 5 of the one and 20 of the other. Start at 5. From 5, count up to 20. So again, 5 to 20. Now, you're not writing any of this stuff. I'm just writing it now so you understand what we're thinking. Okay. Count from 5 to 20. What's the amount? 15. What were there more of? Positives or negatives? Hopefully you're thinking in your head negatives. Answer, negative 15. See, we're figuring out how many are left. There were 15 negatives left. That's all we're doing. That's all we're doing. How about something like this? 12 minus 33. 12 minus 33. All right, be careful on your counting. Start at 12, count to 33. All right, so 12, the way I would count it, 12, 22, 32, and one more 33. That's 21. And what are there more of, positives or negatives? Negatives, that means there must have been 21 negatives left. The answer is negative 21. Let's do another one. And this is the way these will go, and it's the way they turn out. How about this? Negative 10 plus 47. Ooh, tough one, right? No. Start at 10 and count up to 47. All right, starting at 10. So 10 more is 20, 30, 40. And then 7 more, grand total of 37. What was there more of, positives or negatives? Positive, so that's our answer, right? 37. On we go. It's that easy. It is that easy. That's how these are. That's how these work. It's that simplistic. Let's do some more examples. Okay, so 3 more examples. And you might want to pause the video on these and think of the answer yourself. And then play it, and I'll give you the explanation, okay? We're going to do about 3 or 4 more, but once you do a few, you kind of get the idea. And it's not a problem at all, and they become easy to deal with. Okay, so how about something like this? Oh, negative 88 plus 25. Surely we can't do that. Okay, they're big numbers. Again, look, go ahead and figure it out. Pause it if you don't want to hear the explanation. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use my fingers. I'm telling you, I'm using my fingers. 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, and then 3 more, so that is 63. I'm using my fingers. They work real well. And what were there more of? Negatives. So there must have been 63 negatives left. Remember, all we're doing is back to number 1, right? Remember, the one with the most wipes out all of the one with the least. So if you'll start counting from the number of the one with the least up to the number of the one with the most, you'll figure out how many are left. That's all we're doing. That's all that's going on, just figuring out what's left. And you can see sometimes I'm putting the negative in the front, sometimes I'm putting the negative in the back. It really doesn't matter. It really does not matter. Here's a tough one. 19 minus 43. Okay, go ahead and see what you can do with that. Again, pause it if you don't want to hear the explanation. But again, I'm just counting from 19 to 43. 29, 39, and then I got to go, what, 4 more, so that's a 24. And what are there more of? Negatives. Negative 24. On you go. Okay? That's it. That's all. And it's very, very quick. and it's done mentally and makes for an easy way to get them, and hopefully you won't miss them at all. Okay. Should we do another one? How about something like this? How about negative 15 plus 97? Negative 15 plus 97. All right, try that one out. Again, pause if you don't want to hear the answer. All right, I'm going to count from 15 to 97. 25, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75, 85, 95, and then two more. That's 82. Okay. And are they positives or negatives? They are positives because there's more positives than negatives. Positive 82. Hey, that's all you've got to do when adding one positive and one negative number. We start counting from the one with the least, count to the one with the most, and the sign will be the sign with the most because that's the ones that are left. It's that easy. How to add one positive and one negative number. Now, what are the pitfalls? Right? Be careful. Be careful if someone gives you a problem that's not adding a positive and a negative. Well, that's a different situation. So let's go through. We'll do number 4. Beware. Beware. So A. Beware of a problem like this. Negative 7 minus 11. Okay, we are not adding one positive and one negative number, right? So what would be the answer to this? Well, again, we can do it in our head. 7 negatives and 11 more negatives, 18 negatives, negative 18. Right? That's it. Count out how many of them there are. Piece of cake. Right? That's a little different problem. That's not a positive and a negative, it's two negatives. Two negatives. So beware of that kind of a situation. What else? How about something like this? How about 8 minus a minus 5? If you remember, we talked about those the other day. Remember, minus a minus means opposite, the opposite of negative 5 or positive 5. Again, I showed you in class, I did the about face and then the about face again, and I'm right back in that positive direction. So remember, this is just 8 plus 5, and hopefully we all think that that's 13, right? 8 plus 5, and that's 13. Be careful maybe in this area. How about something like this? Negative 8 minus the absolute value of 3. Okay, that's an absolute value problem, so be careful. Remember, absolute value is how far is the number away from 0. How far is 3 away from 0? What's the distance from 3 to 0? It's 3. And so now what kind of problem do you have? What's left? Is it a positive and a negative? If it's not, don't treat it like it is. You've got to recognize what you have. What is this problem? I hope you're thinking 8 negatives and 3 more negatives is 11 negatives, right? So be careful there in these different situations. You've got to do a little simplifying. B and C, what did you have to do? You had to simplify it first to figure out what you got. B ended up being 2 positive numbers. C ended up being 2 negative numbers. So be careful. Where you can do simplifying, do that first and figure out where you are. One more situation. Next page, number 5. All right, how about something like this? How would you handle something like this? Negative 10 plus 37 minus 5. Well, this is just 3 problems in one. The way most people will take care of this is they'll add up these 2 first. And so let's do that. All right, do we have 1 negative, 1 positive? We do. Remember how to do them? All right, again, pause if you don't want to hear the explanation. So I'm going to start at the 10, not the negative 10. It's 10 negatives. I'm not starting at negative. I'm starting at 10. I'm counting from 10 to 37, and that's 27. And I'm giving the sign of the larger, and the larger is positive. Now, I still have this negative sign, and I still have this 5. And now I have to finish off the problem. Well, this is an elementary type problem. 27 minus 5, we all know, is 22. Right? We don't need to deal with that as a positive and negative, though we can. If you want to, okay, start at 5, count to 27. What do you get? 22. What's the sign of the bigger positive? All right, you could do that way, but you don't need to because of the way it turned out. All right? Now, if that would have been a 55, that would be a whole different story, right? If this would have been a 55, then this would have been a 55. And now we'd be doing a positive and a negative. We'd count from 27 to 55, right? 37, 47. And so we would have gotten a 28, and we'd give the sign of the one with the most, and that would be a negative 28. Okay? Adding one positive and one negative number. Start at the number with the least, count to the number with the most, give the sign of the one with the most. That's all you got to do. It's quick and easy, and honestly, class, it's what's actually happening. It's why the answer is what it is. Have a great weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday.